Matthew chapter 10, verses 34 through 39. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 through 39.
All right, sir.
Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it. And he who loses his life for my sake will find it. Amen. You may be seated. Father God, we just ask that you come in today. Yes, Lord. We just ask that your Holy Spirit, Father, will have his way. Yes. We ask that no word will come from our mouth, Father, unless it comes from you. Yes. Right. We ask that those who came in today, Lord, that they will leave different than the way they came. Amen. We ask, Father, that somehow your word will find a way to someone's heart and change their life. Yes. We're in the life-changing business, Father. Yes. And we work for you, Lord. Yes. And we know that if we are connected to you, that your will be done. Yes. Father, we thank you for this day. Yes. For we know that it was not promised to us. Yes. But it is because of the Lord that we are here today. Yes. We ask, Father, that all on the end of my voice, that you not only bless them, but you bless their families. Amen. Bless their households, Father. Yes, bless them, Father, for somehow getting up, even though they didn't feel like it, and bringing themselves to church today. Yes. We ask that their problems be solved. Yes. And that you give the answers today to their questions. Yes. In Jesus' holy name, we pray. Amen. I want to come to you today with the title, Love Without Limits. Love Without Limits. How many of you know that when we speak of the word limit, we're talking about a bar that you cannot go beyond? All right. And the thing that I love about God is that man will tell you that the sky is the limit. All right. But God says the limit is the sky. All right. You see, with God, everything is possible. But before I begin to move on, it is only right today that I tell you who you're dealing with. Yeah. All right. See, there are some people that need to understand how I got here, who sent me, and why he sent me today. All right. You see, I haven't always grown up in the church. All right. I didn't cut my teeth in seminary. All right. God actually came to me in my own home. And ever since that day, this Bible was downloaded into my body. All right. One day is all it took. All right. And so, as I begin to focus on my life, I'm reminded of where I've been and where I come from. All right, sir. I know we're not supposed to look back, but sometimes you have to look back to see where God has brought you from. All right. Amen. You see, I don't know about you, but God has brought me from a mighty long way. There are so many mountains blessings behind me that when I look back, all I can do is just shed a tear and just wave my hand. Because God has been good to me. And if you're sitting here today, God has been good to you. Oh, hallelujah. I know I'm talking to somebody today. I'm not the only one who's been through something that was blessed today. Hallelujah.
Amen. All right.
And so, unlike a lot of people, my life as a child, as I grew up, was a living hell.
All right, so talk to me.
My father was an alcoholic. And every time he got drunk, it just seems that he needed somebody to punch him. And me being the one child that was different from all the other children in the household, I was the one. He knew that there was something different about me from the start. He said, I can't put my mind on it, but there's something different about that boy.
All right.
And he didn't like it. So I grew up amongst all the alcohol and all the beatings and even being hit with a shovel and having him draw a gun on me when he was drunk. And I dealt with all these different things in life. And I just didn't understand how someone who was just a kid could live a regular life.
Come on.
All right.
But there's this thing called generational curse.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And somehow I was drawn into this curse. I was a product of generational spirits that were indwelled into my family.
All right.
Amen. Come on.
You see, these spirits, they go from great-grandfather to grandfather to father to the son, and they continue to walk with you until someday the cycle is broken.
Yes, that's right. Yes, sir.
See, you have to break the cycle in order to get out of that mess.
Amen.
Or you continue to do the same thing that your father before his father did.
That's right.
That's right.
So if the father before his father was a wife beater, then that's what you did. You beat on your wife. If he was an adulterer, then that's what you did. You ran in the hotels and went through windows.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah, I climbed in a few windows. Yeah. Don't act like it was just me. Don't act like it was just me. And so this generational curse of spirits passed down from person to person jumped on me at the age of 12. And so one day I saw something that I had no business seeing. It was supposed to be tucked away in the closet, but somehow the enemy led me to this closet. And once I saw this, that spirit possessed me, and I dealt with that curse for 28 years. And so what men don't understand is the way the enemy works. He knows that if I can kill the head, the body will fall.
Wow.
It causes a chemical imbalance inside the household because the house is not designed to be without the husband.
Amen.
No.
This generational curse that threw me off course early on in my life would not last, but it would wreak havoc in my life.
All right.
There was a lot of anger involved. I was angry and didn't know why. Why was I so angry? Why did I want to fight every time I turned around? And so one day, as I got older, God started to follow me. And I began to feel his spirit upon me. But being the person that I am, I decided that I would not go quiet.
Right.
So I fought God on every hand. Every time he asked me to do something, I did the opposite.
My Lord.
And so then God began to take things from me. because I was disobedient. Did that ever happen to anybody going through that in here? Has anybody ever lost something that you really wanted to keep? And so I had to change jobs, and that's how I ended up here in Tupelo. And soon I began to have money problems, and I had never had money problems. And after that, I began to have problems with my bills, and I had never dealt with issues with my bills. And then my marriage life began to fall apart, and everything seemed like it started to come down overnight, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. But soon I would find out. And so this new job that I got began to trip, and I began to have issues on the job almost immediately after I got there. And so then the bill collectors, they wanted to foreclose on my house, and the banks were calling because they wanted to come pick up the car. But I thought, what am I going to do? And so then one day I was standing in the store, and all of a sudden someone spoke to me, and he said, do you know who is doing this to you? And he said, I am that I am. And there was a lady standing on the aisle with me, and I looked at her, because I thought she heard the same thing that I heard, but she kept shopping like she heard nothing. And so me knowing who it was, although I didn't have that experience of growing up in the church, I took off running. I ran to the back of lawn and garden, and I hid in the corner. And I screamed up at the sky. I said, why are you doing this to me? That's what I asked, and there was silence. And so after that, I made up my mind, after everything that was going on, I said, I cannot deal with this anymore. So I left the store one day to commit suicide. No one knew except for me. And so as I got to the location where I had decided that I was going to commit suicide, I heard a voice that said, no. And so I fought with that voice, and I understood that I wouldn't win that either, so I went home. Yeah. I went in my closet. I didn't really understand how to pray or what to ask for. What do you ask God for when you pray to Him? What is the right thing to ask God for when you pray to Him? Is there a problem if I continue to ask for the same things over and over, or do I just need to ask for them with sincerity in my heart? So I went in the closet and I said, God, if you are going to do anything for me, now's the time. Because I'm running out of time.
All right.
I was dead serious. I said, I am running out of time. Whatever you're going to do for me, you need to do it. And so I went to bed on February 4th, 2010. Dead in my trespasses. Dead man walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
But during that night while I was asleep, God came to my room. And my spirit raised up out of my body. He began to talk to me. And he simply just wanted to know, was I going to go with him, or did I want to continue walking in sin?
All right.
And I made a choice that night. I said, God, I'm going to walk with you.
All right.
And so I woke up the next morning and I cried that whole day. And when my wife got home, I said, I'm never going to be the same again. And she thought something was wrong. She said, what is wrong with you? Because I was scared. Because now my eyes are spiritually open. And when your eyes become spiritually open, God began to show you all this mess that you did.
All right.
He goes back to the beginning and he showed me all this stuff. that I did. And then he showed me the cross with Jesus on it. He said, after all he did for you, look at what you did, how you reward him. Yeah. So I cried all day because I was humiliated. I was embarrassed because the king had did all that for me. God had sent his only begotten son, and the only thing I could think about was my own personal desires. And so I told my wife what happened. And she got on the phone and she called her sisters. And she said, I just want y'all to know that my husband has been called. And there was silence on the phone. And then somebody said, who called? Who called that food? That's what I want to know. Who called him? That's all it took to let you know what kind of person I was. Who called him? So now that you know some about me, there's a few things that I want to talk about before we conclude this message. One thing that God explained to me is that the truth actually hurts.
All right.
You see, it's better off when somebody lies on you because you know it's a lie. You can say, that's a lie, they're lying on me. But when somebody tells something about you and it's the truth cuts like a knife. And so, last night as we dealt with the truth of denominational fads that are spreading throughout our country since the beginning of time, some people became uncomfortable and began to loosen their ties and begin to unbutton the top button on their shirts because there are some people that worship the denomination instead of Jesus Christ. Somehow we've got this thing mixed up because we feel that there's going to be more than one line when we get to heaven. Oh, I'm in this line right here with the Baptist. This is my line right here. But God said that there's only one God, there's one doctrine, and there's only one Spirit. And when you get to heaven, there's only going to be one line. And so people became uncomfortable as I preached about denominational fads. You see, the Baptists don't want anything to do with the Methodists. And the Methodists don't want anything to do with the Pentecostals. But we are all supposed to be children of God. Somebody tell me, how can you come to church and sit on this side and not speak to anyone that is sitting on this side? That has nothing to do with love. And the last time I checked, God is love. Denominational faiths. And so God told me today that those who supported me last night that were able to make it, that I needed to get something corrected because you were told incorrect information. That's why Pastor tells you, be careful when you go to another church because you just might receive bad information. And so it was told last night after I got through preaching, somebody felt that they needed to get up behind me because they were offended by the truth. Remember what I said about the truth? And so he began to tell the church that Holiness Church was the only church and that the only way you could be saved was by speaking in tongues and being baptized in Jesus' name. But that's not what the Word said. The Word said in John chapter 3 that you must believe and you must be born again. It's amazing how folks get upset and all bent out of shape when the truth is spoken. Especially when a man who wasn't worth picking to preach the word came from a true and living God and delivered you the word. That ought to scare you right there. Amen. And so what this is is it represents the bondage that